Now we'll be talking about how do we really add value to visualizations using formatting. See, whenever we want to apply some custom formatting, right? There is a lot of default formatting Tableau offers to us. So whenever we want to apply some custom formatting, a few questions that we need to ask ourselves. What is that additional value that formatting adds to the understanding of the data? How can formatting improve the understanding of the data for my audience? Will it really make my visualization more clearer, or is it going to clutter my visualization? Is it going to make my presentation more easy to understand, or is it going to add more and more garbage to it and make it more and more difficult to understand? So, a good practice whenever we are doing the formatting is follow a minimalistic approach. What is this approach? Anything that does not add value, just delete it. Remove everything which don't convey any important message. So try to emphasize more and more on very important values, text, marks, which are more and more important, but at the same time de-emphasize the ones which are simply providing the support for us. That is what is the difference, right? Let me take one simple example to demonstrate that. So let's create a small graph here, right? Let's do a small chart. Let's say I really want category wise. Okay, let's make it very simple. Category wise sales. So let me drag the sales here. Okay, instead of category, let's say I want date wise. Okay, so I'll take order date. So date wise sales, let me put the other way, sales here, date here. So I have the sales, and if possible I'll do it, let's say year wise sales rather than doing it year wise sales. Let me do it quarter wise sales. Okay, this is better. So I'm getting a quarter wise sales, something like this. So this is the default presentation that I have got, and if required I'll do this only for one category. So let me pull the category here. Let's say I want to do it only for office supplies. Okay, this is the kind of graph that we have got. This is the default presentation which Tableau has done for us, and a few things I want to add to this particular chart. Okay, one I want to put for this particular chart, I want to look at the different kinds of labels and all. Okay, there is a text which is saying this, the font is this much, alignment, mark to labels, all this stuff. Now let me put a few so now on this particular worksheet I can go for showing the title. So I can specify what is the name of the title. Okay, here this is the title for the worksheet. Now I don't need this. Right, or if I put this, edit. So I want to put, let's say, sales trends. Now, when I'm putting something like this, what is coming out is, this is a title that is coming out here. So let's say we had this kind of a chart. I can add some kind of title to it. So as a part of the title, let's say I will change it from sheet 1. So let me make it as sales trends in general. I can make it as sales trends and I say apply. So this is the title, right? I can even put a caption which shows the trend of the sum of sales for the order date quarter. Marks are labeled by the sum of sales. Okay, the marks are getting labeled by the sales. Now, my most important part comes in how well I can modify it. Now, if required, let's say I wanted to highlight this particular sales, which was a very high value. So let's say I want to do some kind of an annotating to it. So I do a mark kind of an annotate, and that is what is displayed here. I'm doing a mark annotation and probably slightly pulling it here. This is the default annotation, quarter of the order date 2014, and probably even on the lowest side, let's say I want to bring some kind of a mark level annotating. So again, I'm formatting it to get it slightly in line. Okay, one more default annotation that I have brought out, and let's say we are drawing even a trend line to this graph. So show trend line. Okay, not for this particular point. So on this graph, I want to show the trend line. So this is the trend line that is being shown, and it is shown with a lighter color. Fair enough. Now, a few things which I can do to make the graph looks much more appropriate. Right, these are my trend lines and a 95% confidence interval line as well. Now, this in this entire graph, probably all these things I really don't want to see. So what I can do, I go to the cards and I start not showing any of them. So column shelf, I don't want to show. Row shelf, I don't want to show. The pages shelf, I'm not interested in showing. Filters shelf, not interested in showing. Similarly, the mark shelf, not interested. So this is what is coming out. Now this title also, I don't want it like this. I'll create my own custom title because I do have a space out here. So I say I don't want to show any title or even caption also, I'm not interested. Now this is the whole area of my chart. Here I really want to put some kind of sales trend. So what is that I can do? I can use annotate to that kind of an extent. I'll do an area annotation. Right, probably put a slightly bigger font, right, slightly different font and slightly bigger font to my liking, which I can simply say sales trends. Again, the color of my choice, slightly differentiating the stuff. Again, I'm not, so I'm giving you only the options. Okay, so this is what is being shown as sales trends. So if required, format it in a much better way. So this is telling you at the top of your chart. Again, you can do the formattings for this where you may not require any kind of borders, etc. So only at the top of the sheet, top of your chart, you simply put sales trends. Alright. So this is the chart that is talking about the sales trend. Now, if this is the case, obviously here I don't need the sales heading. So I can click on this and I say remove the header. Right? Because the numbers are already there here. I may not be interested in having the header. Or I can very well look at the format. Again, for this, if there is any other formatting, fair enough, but otherwise, I can when I'm removing the heading, the whole thing is going up. And here as well on this axis, if I say edit, so now if required, all I can very well do is, well, what else can I? So instead of using this custom annotation, or instead of using the stable annotation, probably I can do it much more customized. Why do I really require quarter of the order date? I don't need this kind of a word, right? So I can simply say 2014 Q14, and instead of saying sales this much, I will write it as sales of this much. I say apply, right? If required, I can make this stuff slightly bold, get into the formatting, or even when I'm getting into the editing of it, this entire thing I can keep it a little bit bold, bigger, so that it communicates the true picture for me, right? And even when I'm looking at the formatting, the trend line, I can edit the trend line. Okay, this is linear. I really don't want to show any kind of confidence interval, so I'm taking it out. So only one linear trend line being shown altogether. And the same logic of the same formatting I can apply here as well. And if I have to really decide whether I need to add some kind of marks or something, but annotations really help a lot when we are trying to present the graph in a much better way. Probably I don't need these grid lines, right? Let me simply remove of these grid lines. So annotation we are done, trend lines we have seen. Okay, coming to the formatting of this particular chart. So here I could see, so when I go to this lines, I can very well tell the grid lines to be none. Now I want to really see whether the row level, column level grid lines are required. Otherwise I can very well take out the grid lines. The trend line also I can, if required, I can change the formatting of that stuff. Any reference lines, any of these things, axis tick marks, if I want to put, I will put it with some kind of a light color wherever required, because here we are now, we don't have any kind of grid line. right? The axis rulers, it is showing none. Rather than that, I can put some kind of very light, feeble kind of coloring. And just to differentiate this, I can put the axis tick marks, slightly visible kind of stuff. Okay, so these are my axis tick marks, and probably this entire area is visible to me. If required, even the color of these things I can really change, right? The default colors and everything. If I want to change the presentation, I can very well change this. So the worksheet filling, I'm not interested. The row band, the column band. So you can just play around, right? The fill colors, the line colors. So we can very well see, play around with the stuff, and finally come out with an appropriate formatting, so that the whole idea, especially use annotations to whatever extent possible, and use your various formatting mechanisms which can bring out the best of the graph, which can communicate the true picture. And in many cases, apart from this, right, the tooltip plays a very important role. So probably some more time needs to be spent in terms of understanding the tooltip. When I go to this worksheet, we have tooltip. So this is what is being shown as a part of the tooltip. Quarter of order date, sales this much. So if required, I can very well modify it, right? I don't need quarter of order date here at all. So I'll say this much, and instead of just sales, I'll say sales of, and I'm dropping the stuff from this insert. All the fields and whatever I want, I can get things from there. And right, so this is what is the tooltip I am talking of, and it is also asking you if you require the command buttons or not. So if I say I don't need command buttons, and so this is responsive, so tooltip instantly on default or when you are hovering on it. Alright, so when I'm saying okay, now I can do a preview of it, which is telling you okay, 2011 Q1 sales of this one. So you can really adjust the tooltips and all that stuff, which means now you come here, you are getting a much better tooltip as a part. So whatever you want, you can very well add as a part of the tooltip. Let the graph be as simple as possible, and any additional information you would like to convey, let it be conveyed more through a tooltip, right? So you can just plan around the whole representation of the graph, because at the end of the day, this is the one that goes as a part of the representation in the dashboard. So using annotations, using tooltips, you can really bring lots and lots of formattings in a very simple, pleasing way to the audience, which will reduce the usage of unnecessary items on your chart. So while selecting an appropriate chart is important, but how well you present the stuff to the intended audience is also an equally important aspect. So just you need to get into that art of mastering that aspect. All right. So the intention of this session is to just showcase what are the different kinds of stuff that you can do with the charts. Right now it's up to you to play around to bring out the master visualizations. So thanks a lot for listening to this session. Thank you very much.